On Global TV News Prime, President Tinubu departs Lagos for Europe ahead of Abu Dhabi Sustainability Summit. And on business, maritime workers kick against casualization of workers in shipping sector. Another foreign scene, United Kingdom curbs DR Congo's visas, announces migrant return deals with Angola and Namibia. And in sports, Nigerian Football Federation clears air on FIFA's response regarding DR Congo's players' eligibility dispute against Nigeria. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Prime on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Jumai Manson. Now, a quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Now the news in full. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has departed Lagos for Europe as part of his end-of-year break, ahead of his official visit to Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. In a statement issued by the President's Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, the week-long event brings together leaders from government, business, and civil society to advance global conversations on sustainable development. The President is scheduled to participate in the 2026 edition of the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week Summit, following an invitation from the President of the United Arab Emirates, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. The summit is expected to hold in early January and will focus on connecting innovation, finance, and people to drive sustainable growth. The federal government, through the Office of the National Security Advisor, has graduated over 7,000 newly recruited forest guards from 7 frontline states to strengthen security and protect Nigeria's forests from criminal exploitation. The development followed successful completion of a 3-month intensive training program under the Presidential Forest Guard initiative launched by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in May 2025. Deployment was contained in a statement by Rabiu Ibrahim, Special Assistant on Media to the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris. According to the statement shared on the ministry's X handle, the program was designed to strengthen Nigeria's internal security architecture by denying terrorists, bandits, kidnappers, and other criminal groups sanctuary within forests and hard-to-reach terrains. In another development, the Kwara State Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazak has warned that terrorists and kidnappers operating in the state must leave immediately or face destruction, saying the government is deploying all available resources to protect residents. This is, as the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu said, the federal government was determined to reclaim territories overtaken by criminal elements. Assuring Nigerians that terrorism will be defeated, Ribadu, in a statement announcing the graduation of over 7,000 forest guards, said the new personnel will support other security agencies, gather intelligence, and help protect communities vulnerable to attacks. Still on security matters, Kebbi State has bolstered its security frameworks with a graduation of 890 National Forest Guards trained to protect forest reserves and curb criminal activities. The Guards completed an intensive 9-week training program in Kalgo local government area, focusing on early warning systems, patrol operations, ambush tactics, and holding of AK-47 rifles. Their training was jointly supervised by the Department of State Services, DSS, the Nigerian Police Force, and the military, reflecting a coordinated security effort. Workers in the National Assembly under the umbrella of Parliamentary Staff Association of Nigeria, PASAN, National Assembly chapter, have demanded strict compliance with the federal chapter principle in appointments into the directorate cadre in the institution. PASAN made the demand in a letter addressed to the chairman of the National Assembly Service Commission, NASC. In a letter signed by their chairman, Sabi Sunday, the workers urged the National Assembly Service Commission to draw inspiration from President Bola Tinubu's recent reversal of the controversial elevation of his aide-de-camp to Brigadier General Passon, and noted that President's decision underscores the supremacy of due process and the principle that no public official is above the law. 74 candidates of the People's Democratic Party in the forthcoming Federal Capital Territory Area Council elections are facing possible disqualifications following unresolved leadership crisis within the party. This comes as the Labour Party has been completely shut out of the polls, having presented no candidates on the final list released by the Independent National Electoral Commission on September 22, 2025. With the Area Council election scheduled for February 21, 2026, INEC document shows that out of 16 registered political parties, only the LP currently has no candidate cleared for the exercise. Over now to the youth wing of the Action Democratic Congress, ADC, has issued a 7-day ultimatum to the federal government to suspend the enforcement of the 2025 Tax Act. Addressing a news conference in Kano, the group warns that failure to do so will result in a nationwide taxpayers' strike. Our correspondent Idris Jibrin tells us more.
The Action Democratic Congress Youth Wing says the recent presidential assent to the 2025 tax bills amounts to what it described as a systematic dismantling of the social contract between the government and citizens. Hence, the call on federal government to immediately halt the enforcement of the tax laws within the next 7 days.
Nigeria stands at a volatile crossroad. Following the presidential assent to the 2025 tax bill, the nation has witnessed a systematic what was presented as reform has been exposed as the regime of fiscal extraction. The current administration under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has introduced a tax framework that ignores the economic reality of 70% of the population. The youth wing of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, hereby issue a final ultimatum to the presidency. The government has 7 days until the close of business on Saturday, February 3rd, 2026, to take the following corrective actions.
The group warned that unless the government withdraws the disputed tax provisions, removes what it described as a 20% ransom clause, and abolish paramilitary powers granted to tax collectors, it will mobilize Nigerian youth for a nationwide occupation of fiscal and revenue-generating institutions. He noted that the youth wing had earlier staged a protest at the National Assembly where it submitted what it termed a dossier of grievances over alleged legislative forgery and fiscal operation, but claimed no action was taken, insisting that their actions are aimed at protecting citizens from policies it believes could worsen economic hardship. Meanwhile, many Nigerians express hope that any tax reform introduced by the federal government will prioritize economic growth and social justice and the overall well-being of the country's teeming population. From Kano, Idris Jibrin, Global Television News.
In the meantime, a former presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, is set to formally join the African Democratic Congress amid ongoing consultations ahead of the 2027 general elections. A principal official of the party in Abuja said Obi had concluded plans to join the party and hold a declaration rally in Enugu, the political capital of the southeast, on December 31st. According to officials, Obi's supporters and loyalists have begun arrangements for the defection. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has rejected claims that he has pulled out of the 2027 presidential contest, calling the report false and misleading. Atiku, who was the People's Democratic Party (PDP) candidate in the 2023 election, was said in some reports to have stepped aside for Peter Obi, the Labour Party's 2023 presidential candidate. The story also claimed that Atiku supported a one-term presidency for Obi in the interest of regional balance. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has taken a swipe at politicians who recently defected to the All Progressive Congress (APC), accusing them of showing loyalty to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu only after the elections were won. Speaking at the Thanksgiving service hosted by the chairman of the South-South Development Commission, Chibudon Uweche, and his family in Ochebe community, Ahoda East local government area of Rivers State, Wike said those now chanting support slogans were nowhere to be found during critical moments. The former Rivers State governor also declared that political activities in Rivers State will formally resume in January 2026. He commended residents of Ahoda East and Ahoda West for the steadfast support for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, noting that their commitment played a key role in the president's victory in the 2023 general election. The Lagos State Caucus of the All Progressive Congress in the United Kingdom has called on Nigerians to support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration and ensure his victory for a second term. In a statement, the caucus made the call at its end-of-the-year dinner held in Bromley, London. In his address, the chairman of the caucus, Tayo Shodende, reiterated the chapter's pride in the renewed hope agenda of the president. He lauded what he described as the developmental progress being recorded under Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, which he said was second to none. Borno's Senator Ali Ndume has urged Nigerians not to allow religion to become a source of division. Ndume gave the charge during a Christmas luncheon organized by Christian Internally Displaced Persons, IDPs, at the Christian Association of Nigeria Center in Wulari Ward, Maiduguri, Borno State. He stressed that both Islam and Christianity preach kindness, patience, and mercy, and to peace across the nation. You are watching the live broadcast of News Prime. When News Prime returns, Somalia demands Israel withdraw Ismailand recognition. Details coming shortly, plus business and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. You're welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is News Prime on Global Television. Thank you for staying with us. In business now, the Federal Ministry of Power has been indicted by the Auditor General of the Federation for financial irregularities and breaches of public finance rules. Findings in the Auditor General's 2022 Annual Report on Non-Compliance Volume 2 revealed multiple infractions at the ministry, ranging from unaccounted funds and procurement violations to unauthorized expenditures. According to the report, irregularities traced to the ministry's 2021 financial operations amounted to 100.37 billion naira, raising fresh concerns over internal controls and fiscal discipline within the power sector. The Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority disclosed this in the latest data posted on its website. It says the Port Harcourt Refining Company, which is currently shut down, is still supplying 349,000 liters of automated gas oil, otherwise known as diesel, daily. The regulation authority said the refinery, which the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited shut down on May 24, 2025, was still having diesel evacuated into the market daily as of November. While stressing that there are no production activities at the refinery due to its current shutdown mode, the regulatory agency disclosed that the diesel product before it was shut down was still being evacuated as of November. The shipping branch of the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria has frowned at what it described as a continuous casualization of workers by employers of labor within the maritime sector. This was contained in a statement by the head of media of the union, John Ikemefuna, stating that shipping branch president of the union, Olufemi Abbas, described the current labor practices in the shipping sector as a slave-driven ideology that prioritizes corporate profit over human dignity. Abbas stressed that many employers are now bypassing labor regulations by outsourcing core duties to third-party contractors. He emphasized that these contractors offer peanuts to workers, effectively institutionalization casual labor under a different name. On the foreign news now, the Central African Republic, CAR, is holding the presidential election with incumbent Festus Archange Touadera projected to secure another term in the conflict-ridden country. Polling stations opened at today and will close at the evening with 2.3 million voters expected to elect their president, legislators, as well as municipal and regional representatives. Touadera, who has been in office since 2016, is likely to win the first round of voting. However, if no candidate receives more than 50% of the votes, a runoff election will be held. The United Kingdom has imposed visa restrictions on the Democratic Republic of Congo, accusing its government of failing to cooperate with its new policy on the return of undocumented migrants and those who commit criminal offenses. The United Kingdom Home Office announced the measures in a statement, adding that Angola and Namibia have agreed to set up efforts to take back their citizens. The agreements mark the first major change on the sweeping reforms unveiled by Secretary of State for the Home Department Shabana Mahmood last month to make refugee status temporary and speed up the deportation of those who arrive without documents in the UK. However, there is no immediate comment from the DRC, Angola, or Namibia. Somalia has demanded Israel reverse its recognition of the breakaway region of Somaliland, condemning the move as an act of aggression that would never be tolerated. Ali Omar, Somalia's State Minister of Foreign Affairs, said the government will pursue all available diplomatic means to challenge what it described as an act of state aggression and Israeli interference in the country's internal affairs. The sharp rebuke came a day after Israel became the first nation in the world to formally recognize Somaliland, triggering swift condemnation across African Arab nations and raising concerns about whether the move was part of an alleged Israel plan to forcibly displace Palestinians. In sports stories now, the Nigerian Football Federation, NFF, has clarified that it has not yet received a response from FIFA regarding its challenge to the eligibility of certain players from the Democratic Republic of Congo who participated in the 2026 World Cup African Playoff against the Super Eagles some weeks ago. This statement comes in response to media claims that FIFA had dismissed Nigerians' appeal following the Super Eagles' defeat to DR Congo in the playoff final. Nigerian Football Federation, however, categorically stated that the situation is still under consideration. The Director General of the National Institute for Sports, Philip Shaibu, has unveiled plans to reposition the institute as a world-class center for sports development through a strategic partnership with the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. The initiative, driven through the Petroleum to People Development Framework, aims to revive the institute's infrastructure, expand athletic development programs, and strengthen Nigerian sports ecosystem. Under the partnership, the NIS will undergo wide-ranging reforms covering infrastructure development, modern training facilities, sports science education, and talent identification across the country's 6 geopolitical zones. Still on sports, Nigeria secured a hard-fought 3-2 victory over Tunisia in an entertaining African Cup of Nations encounter, keeping the Super Eagles firmly on course in the tournament. The match lived up to expectations as both sides traded attacks, with Nigeria taking the lead early before Tunisia responded with intensity. The Super Eagles showed resilience and composure, converting key chances while maintaining defensive discipline under pressure. Tunisia fought back strongly, reducing the deficit and testing Nigeria's backline in the closing stages, but the Super Eagles held on to secure maximum points. The victory boosts Nigerians' confidence as attention now turns to the next group fixture, where the team will aim to build on the momentum. That's it on News Prime. Here is a recap of our top stories again. On Global TV News Prime, we brought to you that President Bola Tinubu has departed Lagos for Europe as part of his end-of-year break ahead of his official visit to Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. And in sports, the shipping branch of the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria has frowned at what it described as a continuous casualization of workers by employers of labor within the maritime sector. And on the foreign scene, the United Kingdom has imposed visa restrictions on the Democratic Republic of Congo, accusing its government of failing to cooperate with its new policy on the return of undocumented migrants and those who have committed criminal offenses. And finally, in sports, the Nigerian Football Federation, NFF, has clarified that it has not yet received a response from FIFA regarding its challenge to the eligibility of certain players from the Democratic Republic of Congo who participated in the 2026 World Cup African playoff against the Super Eagles some weeks ago. Now, a quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen by using @Global TV NG. I am Jumai Manson. Thank you for watching.